You're defying everything we know about immunity by telling people to wear a mask to have been vaccinated.
No.
Instead, you should be saying there is no science to say we're going to have a problem from the large number of people being vaccinated. You want to get rid of vaccine hesitancy? Tell them they can quit wearing their mask after they get the vaccine. You want people to get the vaccine? Give them a reward instead of telling them that the nanny state's going to be there for 3 more years and you got to wear a mask forever. People don't want to hear it. There's no science behind it.
Well, let me just state for the record that masks are not theater. Masks are protective. And we
You have
ask
immunity there, theater. If you already have immunity, you're wearing a mask to give comfort to others. You're not wearing a mask because of any science.
I totally disagree with you. The point I'm saying is that there are variants in now circulating. The point that Senator Paul was making was that if you look at wild type only, there is some clear-cut credence to what he's saying. But we are living right now in a situation where we're having a dominance of 117, which was the original UK. We have a very troublesome variant in New York City, a 526. We've got 2 variants in California, a 427, 429, and we have a number of others. So we're not dealing with a static situation of the same virus.
Welcome to the Armwood Opinion channel on YouTube, and we're going to be talking about a very controversial subject today. Probably about the most controversial subject I've talked about. And this topic is vaccine passports. What are vaccine passports? The idea, the concept of a vaccine passport is that the government can limit certain rights and privileges to only apply to people who have been vaccinated against the COVID vaccine. The vaccine passport controversy dealing with COVID-19 has come to mean limits that the government and business can place upon people who are not vaccinated, who cannot demonstrate they're vaccinated. People who are vaccinated under this concept would be allowed to travel, to avoid quarantine, attend sporting, political, and arts events, eat in restaurants, and patronize other businesses with no restrictions. Those without the credentials showing that they have been fully vaccinated would face significant restriction until the community as a whole reaches herd immunity. Countries like Israel and Denmark have already had such systems in place. And in the United States, they're being implemented for university enrollment and outgoing universal travel. Historically, in the United States, it's been done for students entering public schools. I mean, if you want to have your child in a public school, you have to have certain vaccinations. It's basic. It's common sense. We have so much bad information, superstition, and ignorance about the COVID vaccine where people are afraid to take it out of just plain terror and fear. Others are MAGA people, Trump supporters, the vast majority of whom are these Republican Trump supporters who oppose the vaccine based upon principle, claiming that they have a liberty interest in it, which the law clearly states they don't. And I'll get to that in a little bit later. And what we're really talking here is about public health and policy, as Dr. Fauci put it very clearly on a TV interview with Rand Paul, when Rand Paul was saying that American liberty was being restricted by mask requirements. That's idiocy. It has nothing to do with American liberty, and it shows that he has no understanding of what the Constitution means by liberty. The government has every right to regulate public health, and always has. Now, if you want to look at it in detail, the United States Supreme Court dealt with this issue way back in 1905 in the case of Jacobson versus Massachusetts, 197 U.S. 1905. And this case, United States does not derive, it says this, the United States does not derive any of its substantive powers from the preamble of the Constitution. It cannot exert any power to secure declared objects of the Constitution unless apart from the preamble, in other words, separate from the preamble, such power be found in or can be properly implied from some express delegation within the Constitution. While the spirit of the Constitution is to be respected, not less than its letter, the spirit is to be collected chiefly from its words. While the exclusion of evidence in a state court in a case involving the constitutionality of a state statute may not strictly present a federal question, this court may consider the rejection of such evidence upon the ground of incompetency or immateriality under a statute as showing its scope and meaning in the opinion of the state court. Now, this is getting a little heavy now in the law, but the police power of a state embraces such reasonable regulations relating to matters completely within its territory and not affecting the people of other states, established directly by legislative enactment as will protect the public safety. What this is saying, quite simply, is that state legislatures can pass regulations to protect health and safety. It goes on. While a local regulation, even if it is based on the acknowledged police power of a state, must always yield in case of conflict with the exercise of general government of any power in possession of the Constitution. In other words, as we know, if a federal law and a state law are in conflict, the federal law trumps the state law. The liberty secured by the Constitution of the United States does not import an absolute right in each person to be at all times and in all circumstances wholly freed from restraint, nor is it an element in such liberty that one person or a minority of persons residing in any community and enjoying the benefit of its local government should have the power to dominate the majority when supported in their action by the authority of a state. So if a state were to enact a regulation which says that you are required to wear a mask or you are required to be vaccinated to engage in certain public behavior, they have every right to do it. And it's the next sentence. It is within the power of a state to enact a compulsory vaccination law and for its legislator and not the courts to determine in the first instance whether vaccination is or is not the best mode for prevention of smallpox and the protection of public health. The case at bar at this particular time in 1905 was smallpox and the smallpox vaccination. There being obvious reasons for such exception, the fact that children under certain circumstances are excepted from the operation of the law does not deny the equal protection of the laws to adults if the statute is applicable equally to all adults. This is the case Jacobson v. Massachusetts, 197 U.S. 11, 1905 U.S. Supreme Court. So those knuckleheads like Cruz and Colbert and also Rand Paul, who are saying that the mask requirements and public distancing requirements violate the Constitution, are not telling the truth. Whether they are intentionally lying or whether they're just plain ignorant, it doesn't matter. They're wrong. And I would argue that we need vaccine passports, given the fact that the vaccination levels have leveled off at around 30-some% nationally, and completed vaccinations in a state like Georgia are only 20-some%, and the doctors say we need 70% for herd immunity to be enough to protect the whole country. Why should the rest of us be put in danger by these ignorant fools who refuse to get vaccinated? Yes, I'm calling them ignorant fools, because they are. They do not have the right to endanger the rest of us. So we need to push state legislatures around the country to enact regulations that require people to get vaccinated, to travel, to engage in public activities, to go to public restaurants, to protect us. We need vaccination passports. Without a doubt, it's common sense. It protects the health and welfare of all of us. There are too many Americans who do not have the common sense or the level-headedness to go ahead and get the vaccine. The vaccine is safe. No one has died from taking the vaccine. There have been false rumors spread. Every one of them has been debunked. So we need to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to stop here. If you have comments, put them down below. But this is a real issue. We need to get past this pandemic, and we won't until Americans grow up and act like adults and stop being babies and start going ahead and get the vaccine. Alrighty, hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe if you want more content like this, and have a good day.